Welcome back to PRN Test Drive. I'm James, and this is the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 392 AlcHEMI. Now, why the unique and special name for this 2024 model year Dodge Durango? Well, it's because it's actually a very limited run. They've only made 1,000 of these things, and that's because they're planning to stop production of the V8 engine inside the Durango as of 2026. So 2025 should be the last year that we see the V8 actually available. So in typical Dodge fashion, we get the last call, a final send-off, just like we saw it with the Charger and the Challenger. It is happening to the Durango, but the entire vehicle isn't going away. From what I've been able to find out, Dodge is still continuing the Durango name, but they're going a different direction. Now with the AlcHEMI name comes some nice exterior styling stuff. So you can see we've got these honeycomb racing stripes that go up and over and all the way back towards the vehicle. And then they're also surrounded by those yellow accents. There's yellow accents in the interior and the exterior. You can see we have a 392 sticker here. It's actually a sticker. I would have liked to see if it was a badge, but it's a sticker, but that's fine. I still like it. We also have the SRT yellow painted Brembo brakes. We've also got blacked out rims and blacked out exhaust, as well as all the badges will be blacked out. That is all included in your AlcHEMI package. Now, unfortunately, there is no performance boost for the AlcHEMI SRT 392, but the good news is they are planning to do a final send-off with the Hellcat version as well. So don't worry, that's coming. But for this Durango in front of me, I've got the standard 6.4 liter V8 Hemi engine, giving us 475 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. So this thing can absolutely fly. It is the fastest three-row SUV that is not electric that I have ever driven, and it is by far one of the best sounding SUVs on the market today. You can't even change my mind. Now, a Dodge Durango like this is what happens when you take a muscle car engine and you throw it in a three-row SUV. You just get fun, phenomenal. I love the design of this thing. I love the big headlights. I love it entirely. Now, not a lot has changed for the Durango, since Niall's been looking at it over the years. I finally get my first crack at it here in 2024, and I'm spoiled because it's, the last call. There's not going to be another one as of 2026 that has an engine that looks and sounds like this. I mean, look, you can see right from the shot that I'm in right here, I've got these huge intakes and they are warm now, and I've had the car off for a little while. This thing is heated up, ready to go. I am absolutely in love with it. But like I said, there's not a whole bunch of changes on the exterior. Pretty much what you see from my angle standing here, other than the back. But again, it's the same kind of classic Durango. The only difference is we do have the nice stripe there, and we're also getting the nice blacked out exhaust, which again sound phenomenal. We'll have to include some shots throughout the video here because it's just not optional. But there is some more interior stuff that I want to go over. There is some nice accents and some more AlcHEMI stuff that we can go over on the interior, so let's hop in there. All right, so business end, Dodge Durango SRT 392 AlcHEMI. Inside the front seat, this is the best seat in the house, the driver's seat, behind this absolute monstrous steering wheel. It's nice and meaty, and I love that. I don't like it when the car steering wheel doesn't match the vehicle I'm driving, but no problem here for this Durango, because the bottom part here is really meaty, and then you've got kind of like a thin side here, so when you're sporty and you're ripping with your paddle shifters here, you have kind of both controls. But when I'm just cruising, I've got this huge piece of steering wheel that I can hold on to, and also we've got the yellow stitching all through my steering wheel. Phenomenal. I absolutely love it. We've got the media controls behind the paddle shifters as well here. We've also got some controls to control our digital gauge cluster, which honestly could use an update. And I think that maybe for the AlcHEMI it should have had an update because it's really slow. Like it maybe looks a little bit faster on camera, but trust me, in person, like it's just been slow when I change through the menus. It feels like it can't keep up sometimes if you're really trying to go fast. I'm not really using the menus here that often, so the amount that it bothered me was only when I was like testing it out, but that is my job, so I have to test it out, and I have to tell you, it's a little slow. Maybe Dodge can do something with an aftermarket software upgrade or something like that, or maybe a performance boost, I don't know, but it's just worth noting that it's a little on the slow side. Now, with the AlcHEMI package on the inside, besides the yellow accents everywhere as well, we get this nice forged carbon fiber accents, really look cool. It just kind of adds something, it's still black, but it adds something, pristine to it. And I like that. If there's going to be a last call model, throw all the money at it, right? So that's good to have. We also, and I'm sure you can see that in the shot here as well, we've got the 392 on these really nice material seats. And then of course the white and yellow stitching continues throughout. Very nice seats, really, really comfortable. I could do a road trip here, no problem. I'll talk to you about ride quality and all that stuff when we actually get it moving. So I've also got a pretty good infotainment display here that is running the latest version of Uconnect, which I do like, built in Amazon Alexa. You can control your climate from here, but there is buttons for it. But what I really enjoy is the fact that I've got like race options in here where I can set my launch control RPM, and I can also set the shift lights for each gear individually. Very cool to see that as well. You can also customize your drive mode from the SRT screen where I'll press a quick button. I've got auto, which kind of keeps things in relatively tame mode, but let me tell you, that exhaust is always loud, no matter what mode you have it in. We've also got a track mode, a sport mode, a snow mode, a tow mode, and a custom mode. And what's funny is there's no comfort mode. The closest thing you get to a comfort mode in the SRT is street. So usually in my custom mode, I've got my transmission in sport. Everything's pretty much in sport other than the stability control, which is in street, and the suspension, which is also in street, which makes things just a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, I really enjoy this infotainment. I really didn't have any problem. If you've ever driven like a Ram 1500, it's very much similar to that. Built-in navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the great stuff. Really no complaints there. HVAC controls are pretty standard. We do have heated and ventilated seats though for the SRT 392 that I'm driving, so very nice as well. We've actually got tri-zone automatic climate control because there is some climate controls in the back, so the cool there. Like I said, all the buttons are right here, no problem. And then I have my SRT button that I can click. It's a physical button, and then I've also got a button with launch, so you click that on, it turns green, and it kind of tells you get ready to absolutely fly. We also have a quick button for our traction control off, parking sensors, which is important. There's no 360-degree cameras here. We just have parking sensors. Again, it's one of those things with the price point. I would have loved to see parking sensors because this is a big vehicle. This is a 3-row. You're going to want to be able to park it properly, but the parking sensors do help. It helps kind of judge your distance, especially when you're not used to driving something big like this. We've also got Harman Kardon surround sound system. Sounds pretty decent. I maybe would have gone with a different company there, but it's okay for what it is. It still gets this thing jumping, so I like that as well. Standard shifter right here, USB-C and USB-A, as well as a wireless charging pad. A little bit of like a double storage compartment in the middle here, so very easy to use there. Overall, it's very standard Durango other than the yellow accents, the 392 stuff, but still, this is my favorite version. I mean, it's the only version I've driven, but man, I wish they all came like this. I wish there was more than 1,000 because I think more people would want to buy this because it is so cool. So now we're sitting in the back seat of the Durango. Pretty standard. I'm pretty sure all of the other ones come like this as well, but I've got tons of leg room here. The only thing is I can't move these captain chairs forwards or backwards. It's pretty much stuck where it is, but what that does allow is for always having access and space in that third row if you have people, which is still nice. And like I said, I still got a bunch of room. I'm sitting behind my driver profile right here, bunch of headroom, bunch of knee room, bunch of foot room. So really nothing to complain about. And we also have the forged carbon fiber accents back here. I like the tint here on the windows. Not a lot of sun comes in, which is important. I have a child. Baby seat fits perfectly here in this passenger seat, so no worries there. I've also got the climate controls right up here, so there isn't any panoramic sunroof. We've just got the one in the front seat, which is completely fine. Still gets quite a bit of light in the car. I've also got my own vents right here, and I've got 2 levels of heated seating for both my captain's chairs. Little armrest is going to come down right here, so this is very much a little road trip seat right here. This is, where you would want to be if you're somebody who doesn't like driving, because if you like driving, you're going to want to be right up here. But if you don't and you don't care, then this is a really good place to spend time. I've also got 2 cup holders right here. You can't see it in the camera, but we will include a shot for it. It also says Dodge. It's nice and plastic, as well as the side of the seat here. There's some plastic so that you can step up on that, kind of dirty your feet on the plastic instead of getting the carpet dirty. So I like that little touch as well. Now, the only nitpick I have in the back seat is that we do have lights. We actually have lights for the third row as well, which I'll show you. But these lights right here are still, they're not LEDs. And I think for the price, even up front, they're not LEDs. I think for the price, we should be able to get LEDs. It's an easy thing to switch, probably once you bought it, but I just feel like that's something that should come with factory. But other than that, that's my only complaint for the back seat, second row. So I've got the seat folded down so you can actually see me well here in the third row, but even with it folded up, you can see I'm sitting in the furthest right seat right here behind the right captain's chair, and I've got like surprisingly amount of good headroom, surprisingly amount of leg room. I'm 5'11" for scale, and I fit like pretty pretty comfortably, and the seats are actually not that bad. There's only 2 of them, so they're not pushing it, adding a third in here. I don't even know how you could, but we do have a cup holder. There's no like USB ports or anything back here, so you're gonna have to rely on the front passengers to pass you the cord. But besides that, that's it. I mean, I'm so surprised that I actually fit back here. I have my own light set back here. There's a speaker back here. There's vents back here as well. So like I've got my air, I've got everything I need, and I've even got my own little window. It can't go up or down, but I've got it. And this is one of the rare times where I actually fit in a third row, to the point where I really want to show you it, because it's rare. I usually don't fit, and I don't even try to cram myself in there, because I end up blowing my back out or something wild. So it's really, really good news. This is cool. Maybe you can't adjust the front seats, but if you can fit in the third row, it's a good trade-off. All right, so on the road now, 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 392 AlcHEMI. What a cool name for it, and what a special vehicle that it has been. It's been such a cool week. Like, it literally is what you get when you take a muscle car engine and throw it into a 3-row SUV. You just get capable power. And I just love this because it's the perfect all-arounder. I can drive it in winter. I can fit everything that my baby needs in it. I can fit groceries. It's a comfortable ride. I've got all the tech I could pretty much want out of an SUV, other than a 360 camera. That's really the only thing I find myself missing. And I've got performance. I've got the big V8. I mean, like, what more could you ask for out of an SUV? I mean, like, I know a lot of people don't like SUVs and stuff like that. And, you know, I do prefer my sedans. But when it comes to something like this, to an SUV that has this kind of power and noise behind it, it's hard to complain. It's really got everything. So let me throw it into track here, and let's be a little bit of a nuisance. Oh my God, the way that it shifts, it's just a punch in track mode. Like, what in the world? Also, it turns off my traction control, which is damn scary, okay? Like, now I basically just caught up to traffic in like 2 seconds. It was ridiculous. This thing is just a demon. I mean, like, I can't imagine what it would be like to have a supercharger, to have the Hellcat engine in this thing. Like, the fact that it goes faster, like, has me speechless. Like, I'm stumbling for my words here. Like, just trying to imagine that is wild. I mean, this is just a muscle car fun. Usually I drive it in custom mode, which, like I said, it has like obviously my track control is fully on, because I think that's terrifying, especially with a car like this. But still, like, my transmission is in track mode. There's no engine mode per se. Like, you can put it in sport, but there's no, like, I can't dial the engine. I think the engine is just always ready to go, even in like what they call auto mode. So I guess, you know, if you're pushing, it's gonna put it into sport mode and stuff like that for you. But yeah, oh my goodness, like, and it's comfortable too. Like, with the suspension in street mode, it's a little bit more bouncy, but it's still really comfortable. When you go into track and sport mode, it does get a little rough. It's a little bit stiff and firm, but not that bad, because it's really hard to make a 3-row SUV that uncomfortable. I think it's definitely not as uncomfortable as something that we drove a little while ago in the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. That thing was rigid no matter what I did. And handling, like, in the corners here, like, the steering wheel doesn't necessarily load up too much. I have, unless my vehicle is in track mode, then I kind of feel a little bit, but I still feel like I'm missing something, which tells me that, you know, this car is really more meant for the straight line speed versus its kind of track performance, we'll say. Whee! So when you need to pass very slow traffic on kind of a backcountry road, well, the Durango in my configuration has no problem doing it, as you just saw me do right there. It's no problem. When the road's clear on the other side, there's no risk, because you've got it covered. You can overtake slow traffic, no problem in this thing. And the cool thing is it can just be a cruiser. It could just be a road tripper, because, you know, I've got my kind of adaptive cruise control and stuff like that. So, you know, I can just kind of sit back and let the car do a lot of it. But honestly, you don't want to. When you have this much at your fingertips or at your feet, it's just an unbelievable amount of power. It's just really cool. And like, so I'm not comparing the Alfa Romeo because it was a 3-row. I'm comparing it because it was, you know, something that was a little bit louder, was more track oriented, you know, it was performance oriented SUV. So it's the closest comparison it gets, but this feels faster. The Alfa Romeo had more power than this at 505. This has 475. This still feels worlds faster. I think it's because of the sound and just the way it delivers its power. All right, so I also have paddle shifters, like I said, so I do have some manual performance here. Ooh. And so you can let off the throttle and it just keeps on giving. It's the truck that just keeps on giving. Oh my goodness, this just makes my brain drool. Like, it's just, my enthusiast blood boils. I just love it, love it, love it. It's just so much fun. And so I'm in 4th gear and you can kind of hear the exhaust kind of pops in the low rev range. It just does everything. It does everything. It's so cool. I mean, it is expensive, right? $117,000 is a lot of money for any vehicle. And if you can afford it, great, because you're gonna need to afford a lot of gas. I'm currently doing 20 liters per 100 kilometers. It's horrendous. It's really bad. But I don't care, because the fun that I get for the money that I'm spending here on gas is really, really, you know, the money to fun ratio is acceptable to me. But yeah, you are going to spend a lot at the pump, but I guess if you can afford this type of vehicle, then I guess you could afford to spend a lot at the pump. So another engine, or another kind of iteration of a model, is dying. It's having its last call here with Dodge. And I guess I kind of agree with it, because like I said, nothing's really changed interior and exterior wise other than the AlcHEMI kind of little bits that we get, like the yellow accents and the badges on the inside and stuff like that. But like the exterior, like I know Niall drove it in the winter a couple of years ago, and you know, he's been driving it nearly every year since. And nothing really has changed on the exterior. Like, again, we get some nice exterior stuff that are like accented, but there hasn't been any big change. And I think in 2026, Dodge is going to go in another direction. It's possible that we see a hybrid thing. I don't know where they'll go with it, but I'm confident they'll do a good job with it still. I think they'll still kind of stay true to their roots in kind of having something a little bit more performance oriented, but maybe not with a V8 anymore. Oh, it's just a punch. It feels so good. And like, I can just hold the right paddle whenever I want, and I'm back to automatic driving. I'm back to the vehicle doing everything for me. And it's just, I just love it so much. And like I said, again, this steering wheel is just so good to hold. Like, I can set myself up like this, and I've still got full control over the vehicle. Visibility is pretty good as well. I kind of lose a little bit of the left side and right side, because there's quite big A pillars, and they come down, or A and B pillars, and they come down and they kind of curve a little bit. So you do lose a little bit, but the windshield is quite big. The mirrors are very big. So like, I never found that being a problem. I just would like to have 360-degree cameras, because it makes protecting your $117,000 investment a good idea. And I say investment because there's a possibility that, because this is the last call, because you know, Dodge is going to change things up and no longer use the V8, well, it kind of gives some things or some room for some appreciation in a vehicle for a change, which is something that doesn't always happen. And I hope it does happen for people who buy this special 1 out of 1,000, you know, production vehicle. I really hope that happens. So that's gonna about do it for my thoughts on the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 392 AlcHEMI. I really love that name. I think it's really a really good idea. And there's only going to be 1,000 of these, so I am absolutely honored to be driving it. Thanks so much for watching all of our stuff. It's because of you that we get to do special stuff like this. I could have never imagined I'd be behind of such a limited run vehicle. I know it's 1,000 and that's kind of a big number, but still, they're still going to be hard to find in Canada, so I'm very happy that we have one here. So make sure you like, subscribe for more cars like this, so that we can get in even more limited vehicles and bring them to you, because I think that's really cool. I think it's a unique experience. Make sure you comment, what do you think about the AlcHEMI? Are you looking for one, or do you just want a base Durango and that's good enough for you? Which, if you do, totally fine. These V8s, get them while they last, because they're awesome and I don't ever see them going out of style. With that being said, rip. I'll see you in the next week, see you in the next car. Take care.